Right now on Denver 7 News at 5 a.m., gas prices are spiking across the Front Range and people are feeling the strain.
Higher gas prices really are affecting my livelihood.
I'll tell you though, it's making me think about getting an electric car sooner than later.
So this morning we're going 360 in depth on the rising prices at the pump and the changes Colorado drivers are making.
Of course, behind the sudden increase is the war in Ukraine. This morning, Russia is issuing a temporary ceasefire to let civilians leave the hardest hit cities.
And it's a potential game changer for firefighters battling wildfires. A company is developing a drone to get crucial equipment to crews at any time, which can't get to market fast enough because wildfire season is approaching once again. Thanks for joining us on this Tuesday. I'm Brian Sanders.
And I'm Nicole Brady. Well, enjoy today. It's going to be the warmest of the week with highs in the 40s. Lisa is here. And Lisa, we're about to get another round of snow.
Yeah, another one. It's a pretty close storm back to back from our weekend snow to another storm early tomorrow. Right now, though, you're right. We're seeing clear skies and one day of some, well, kind of warm conditions. We're going to be at right around 40 degrees this afternoon. We're still about 10 to 12 degrees below normal, though. 17 early on, definitely chilly out there. It's going to feel like single digits in quite a few neighborhoods, but there will be a lot of sunshine. Take a look at the hourly planner. We'll get just above freezing here by about 11 o'clock. Then we'll hit highs close to 40 this afternoon between about 3 and 4 o'clock with a little increase in cloud cover. Today, though, Denver 40, Highlands Ranch 40. You're just above freezing there in Evergreen and then below it there in Estes Park, 26 degrees this afternoon. Coming up here in a few minutes, we're going to take a closer look at our futurecast, but to give you an idea, that's tomorrow afternoon. Wednesday, as snow starts to develop, we're going to see a slick Wednesday evening drive and again early Thursday. I'll show you just how much colder it's going to get too, Jason, coming up.
And right now we have so much better conditions than we had at this point yesterday. I mean, tremendously different on the roadways right now compared to yesterday. But we do have one issue down in the Denver Tech Center, northbound I-25, right after Dry Creek. Take a look from the camera there, and you can see some of the flashing lights. It was called out as a car fire. The fire department is still on the way. You see some of the first responders getting there now, but we aren't seeing any lanes blocked, which is good news. So it's way over to the side, and traffic's able to get around it in okay shape without any travel time delay. You can see that here through the Denver Tech Center. So the rest of the drive looks just fine. 225 I-70, the north side of town, moving along just fine. And again, so much better. Basically all the major roads are dry for you right now.
Well, right now we are all feeling the squeeze at the gas pump. Depending on where you live, gas prices have jumped 40 to 65 cents in just the last week.
So this morning we are taking a 360 in-depth look at the rising cost of filling up your tank. We'll break down the prices today, what's behind the increase, some potential solutions from the Biden administration, and how these prices are already impacting our driving habits.
So let's start with what we're paying right now. This is the latest map from AAA, and the areas in red show where gas is the most expensive, areas like Eagle and Pitkin counties. Today, the average price for regular gas in Colorado is $3.84 a gallon. That's up 45 cents in just a week. For some context, that's still below our record high, which was set back in July of 2008. The average price then was $4.09.
Well, so if you're wondering why the big jump all of a sudden, AAA says it's not just the war. We already had a supply and demand problem. When it comes to supply, OPEC is promising only modest production increases. Meanwhile, more people are driving to work and they're traveling, causing an increase in demand. And now, of course, a global crisis caused by Russia.
We only get historically about 4% of our oil from Russia, but 10% of the world's oil is from Russia. And remember, we're competing against every other country and every other oil user out there for oil to make gasoline. It is something we're going to feel every time we fill up. It's also going to continue to drive inflation on all our other goods and services that rely on gasoline and crude oil to be shipped around.
So Russia is having a huge impact on our gas prices, but the United States is the world's largest producer of oil. AAA says part of the problem is U.S. oil companies.
And while there is some increased production, many of the major oil development corporations and companies in the United States are opting not to produce more oil right now because they benefit from selling it at this very high price. Crude is trading at $120 right now. So if you're getting mad at anybody, I would say get mad at folks who are trying to make a dime for their shareholders at the expense of your wallet.
Here's one more concern. Russia also sells natural gas, and last week that hit a record high price in Europe. It was 10 times the price Europe was paying about a year ago.
Even as gas prices skyrocket, both of Colorado's Democratic U.S. senators say they support the U.S. banning imports of Russian oil. The House could vote on a similar proposal as soon as today. The White House says President Biden hasn't decided whether or not to impose a ban. One thing we do know, the Biden administration is considering a visit to Saudi Arabia this spring. Axios reports the White House is considering repairing relations in hopes of convincing the kingdom to produce more oil. This move, of course, shows the gravity of the global energy crisis. Biden has slammed Saudi Arabia in the past, calling it a pariah on the 2020 campaign trail. The CIA believes the Crown Prince was involved in the death of Washington Post columnist Jamal Khashoggi. With gas prices only expected to go higher, we wanted to know if Colorado drivers are ready to change their habits to save money.
Yeah. Christian Lopez joins us with how the increase could lead to some tough choices for us as consumers. Christian?
Yeah, we might be at that point for a lot of people. A recent AAA survey of Colorado drivers showed that $3.75 would be the price where they'd start to make some changes, and that was our average yesterday. In just one day, the price at the pump jumped 9 cents. Now, according to that same survey from late January, drivers said they made the decision to drive less often, combine trips, or use fuel rewards programs to save some money. Now, your first thought when prices jump like this may be to just use less gas, but that's not often an option for people. And data from the federal government showed that to be the case when records were set back in 2008. Consumption stayed constant. So what does get cut? Well, an article from the New York Times profiled people who were trimming their budgets to make more room for spending on gas. Dining out, shopping, and leisure travel were among some of the first reasons to go, and we heard some of the same here.
As a retiree, I travel around town, but that's about it. It's not a problem for me right now. If it gets much higher, yeah, we probably won't travel much.
And some estimates show that Americans could lose as much as $2,000 each by the end of the year if gas prices don't ease up. Reporting live in the studio, I'm Christian Lopez, Denver 7.
All right, thank you, Christian. Well, we asked you on our Denver 7 Facebook page how your driving habits might change with gas prices going up.
Marcia says she plans to shop at neighborhood stores and won't take long trips to any place across town.
Tina says she's switching her car to economy mode because it uses premium gasoline.
And Norm writes, looks like it's time to buy a horse and buggy. We want to hear from you. With gas prices going up, how will you change your habits? Email us at 360@thedenverchannel.com or leave a comment on our Facebook page.
Now to the war in Ukraine. The refugee chief for the United Nations says 2 million Ukrainians have now fled the country. It comes as Russia declared a temporary ceasefire, allowing civilians in Ukraine's 5 worst hit cities to leave. Ukrainian leaders are still skeptical, though, since previous ceasefire efforts have failed. A senior official tells ABC News there are indications Russia may attack a weapons supply chain in Poland before it gets to Ukraine. The Pentagon announced an additional 500 U.S. troops are headed to Europe to support surrounding NATO forces. Back here at home, Boulder County is making some progress in the Marshall Fire debris cleanup. Crews have finished applying hydro mulch to properties in Louisville and Superior. That mulch helps prevent toxins from the ash and debris from being moved by the wind or running into local waterways. Meanwhile, there's a new hearing set for the lawsuit over Boulder County's debris removal contract. The suit claims county commissioners improperly convened executive sessions to talk about the contract with the company based out of Louisiana. The debris removal process was supposed to start last week. The hearing is now set for March 18th. Developers are coming up with a new high-tech solution to get supplies quickly to firefighters on the front lines of wildfires. This autonomous drone runs on gas and electric power and can fly for up to 2 hours with up to 100 pounds of equipment, carrying things like hoses, fuel, and drinking water. Not only do they free up helicopter use, they can fly anytime in very difficult locations, even when the smoke is thick.
We never have enough aerial resources, ever, and now we're fighting mega fires. Drones will bridge that gap.
Parallel Flight Technologies has been working on the drone since 2018. It is getting closer to getting a model on the market. It is always wildfire season. Fortunately, we've had some pretty good snow this year, Lisa.
We have. It's been nice, and we really got all of our snow pretty much in 2022. As the season started off pretty late, it seems like we're making up for it. Today is going to be a break in between the two storms, though. We'll be in the teens at the bus stop this morning. Sunny skies, mostly sunny this afternoon, a warmer day. Highs will be right around 40 today. It gets cold again tomorrow. We're tracking our next storm, and I'll show you how much snow we're expecting in your neighborhood coming up.
All quiet on the northern front as we're taking a look at Greeley and up around the UNC campus and moving along just fine. I am not seeing any big problems, but there are still a few spots where you might find some ice and snow up there on those shaded areas. But for the most part, a pretty decent ride on and off the highways. Take a look at more of those travel times for you coming up.
More Coloradans are opening their homes to Airbnb. We have new data showing how much money hosts are making.
Frontier and Spirit Airlines are on track to merge, but our Attorney General is crying foul on the deal.